Coming up on OU Nightly, Governor Kevin Stitt makes an unexpected visit to Tel Aviv. We'll tell you why.
I can't wait to see his face. If he hasn't seen me on film yet, I hope he does.
OSU Cowboy turned Oklahoma Sooner calls out Mike Gundy ahead of the final Big 12 Bedlam matchup.
Plus, temperatures are warming up across the state. I'll have that in your Bedlam forecast. This is OU Nightly.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Morgan Martin.
And I'm Ireland Fitzer. We begin tonight with Israel continuing to push ahead in the war with Hamas.
This week, Israel Defense Forces bombed a densely populated refugee camp, causing criticism from the United Nations.
In the meantime, thousands of Gazans are struggling to find shelter. CNN's Gloria Pazmino has the latest.
A hammer is their only tool. Then it's their bare hands as Gazans sift through piles of mangled metal, concrete, and dust in search of bodies. This is the second hit on the Jabalia refugee camp this week. The Israeli military says it was targeting a Hamas command and control complex and killed several Hamas members, and blames Hamas for intentionally endangering civilians by building its infrastructure in populated areas. The director of Gaza's Indonesian hospital says the strike killed scores of people and injured hundreds more. The scale of destruction is widespread and pressure is growing on Israel to call for a ceasefire as the civilian death toll from the war escalates. In the meantime, a glimmer of hope as injured Palestinians and hundreds of foreign nationals, including U.S. citizens, have started arriving on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing Wednesday. Back in the U.S., political pressure is mounting. President Biden was confronted by a rabbi during a private fundraiser in Minneapolis.
Mr. President, if you care about Jewish people as a rabbi, I need you to call for a ceasefire right now.
Biden responded by saying he was supportive of a humanitarian pause to allow for the release of the more than 200 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Muslim leaders representing a key voting bloc in Minneapolis say the president failed to meet their deadline to call a ceasefire this week.
No ceasefire, no vote in 2024.
Reporting in New York, Gloria Pazmino.
The Palestinian death toll is now over 9,000 as Israeli forces advance into Gaza.
Governor Kevin Stitt and Texas Governor Greg Abbott are in Israel today in an attempt to show solidarity and push further partnerships with the nation. The governors met with Prime Minister Netanyahu, President Herzog, and Foreign Minister Cohen, later visiting Tel Aviv's Sourasky Medical Center to visit with victims and their families.
A Cleveland County jury finds Norman resident Desiree Sanchez guilty of first-degree murder and an unlawful removal of a dead body. The conviction comes after Norman police found Sanchez's sister-in-law Margarita Sandoval's body in the basement of a home on West Lindsay Street. Sanchez's husband also facing charges, the jury recommending life with the possibility of parole. Sentencing will take place early next year.
And now on to weather. The warmer temperatures and sunshines are here to stick around for just a little bit longer.
OU Nightly meteorologist Carlin McCurry joins us live in the studio with the first look at those warmer temperatures.
That's right, ladies. It's definitely warmed up quite a few degrees here in areas of central and across Oklahoma, as we are seeing on the temperature change 9 degrees above what we have been seeing with clouds and cooler temperatures over the past few days. Definitely something that we shouldn't be getting used to just yet, because we are going to have warmer temperatures over the next few days. Current wind speeds, we are at 18 miles per hour here in Norman. A few areas, Enid, seeing 23 miles per hour. So you could definitely feel that outside if you are walking to class. But coming up in main weather, I'll talk a little bit more about the average temperatures on the way, along with the Bedlam forecast, ladies.
Thank you, Carlin. New testimonies are given in the civil fraud trial against former President Donald Trump by his sons. Noah Mack has that and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
That's right, Morgan. Both of former President Donald Trump's sons are in court today. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump took the stand to testify in their father's New York civil fraud case. The former president, his sons, and a large number of Trump Organization executives are accused of inflating Trump's net worth. Both Trump brothers testified they were not directly involved in their father's financial statements.
This was really the first time I actually heard somebody tell and say what they actually did to my son. One
of the 5 officers accused of killing Tyree Nichols pleads guilty to federal charges. This comes after prosecutors say 5 Memphis police officers violently beat Nichols, who later died in the hospital from his injuries. According to Desmond Mills Jr.'s plea deal, prosecutors will recommend to a judge that Mills should serve 15 years in jail. Mills has also agreed to cooperate in the case against 4 other officers. The man accused of killing the 1996 killing of rapper Tupac Shakur pleads not guilty. This was Dwayne Keith Davis's 3rd scheduled arraignment. The last 2 were deferred while the 60-year-old man struggled to seek legal counsel. Now the judge says the court will appoint a public defender to Davis's case. And jury deliberations are currently underway in the criminal fraud case against cryptocurrency tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried. A lot of legal news today. Morgan, Ireland.
Thank you, Noah. Rivalries are the lifeline of college football, and particularly in the state of Oklahoma. Stone Weber is here to tell us why this year's Bedlam matchup has a different meaning to it.
Morgan, we're just 2 days away from the 118th edition of the Bedlam rivalry, and this year's game could be the last for the foreseeable future. Now, going back to last year, Oklahoma was 5-5 and OSU was 6-4 going into this game. But this year, a different story. These 2 teams are combined for just 3 losses, and with this year's game being in Stillwater, that favors the Sooners. OU is 41-8-5 in Stillwater, and against OSU, head coach Mike Gundy, the Crimson and Cream are 15-3. Coming up in sports, find out what comments from Trace Ford made national headlines. Morgan, Ireland.
Thanks, Stone. OU's history-making athletic programs have a new chance at making an impact in their community. OU Nightly reporter Kinsey Eiserman has more on a new NIL program that launched last week.
Flashy cars and products being endorsed by student athletes is one thing, but the Sooner Nation Collective has taken NIL deals another direction. These athletes can now use their name, image, and likeness to bring awareness towards local charities.
The Sooner Nation Collective is a brand new nonprofit that works with student athletes at the University of Oklahoma, and we create meaningful work experiences so that they can benefit from their NIL while serving the community.
What many people may not know is not only do these student athletes have to balance classes and athletic schedules, but out of 600 student athletes, only a small percentage of those are on full ride scholarships.
In the short term, I hope the impact is we help some young men and women pay for college and just make it easier on them to play the sport they love.
Although the program's launch was on October 18th, Sooner Nation has already got their back. Alumni are coming together to donate to help support these student athletes. On top of that, they've already had a few successful events.
We have done a few different NIL opportunities. The first one we did was with the baseball team and the Oklahoma Humane Society. The 14 young men from the baseball team worked with OK Humane, and they are creating a social media campaign to support fostering and adopting animals. We also took women's basketball to Wings Special Needs Community Fall Festival, and they helped raise awareness.
One step at a time, the Sooner Nation Collective is taking strides in creating a positive image for NIL, not only supporting local charities, but these student athletes' futures. Kenzie Eiserman, OU Nightly.
For more information on collaborating with the Sooner Nation Collective and OU student athletes, you can visit thesoonernation.org. And when OU Nightly returns, how the female brain is being protected.
What a new study is suggesting about hormone therapy and brain diseases.
And the use of e-cigarettes and tobacco by kids is changing.
Hear what the FDA has to say after the break.
Less Americans are willing to get vaccinated now than compared during the pandemic. Darian Curry explains why in today's Health Beat.
Distrust in vaccinations continues to rise after the pandemic. A study from the Annenberg Public Policy Center says Americans are less likely to consider it safe to get COVID, pneumonia, and other vaccines than they were 2.5 years ago. The director of the study says it could be because of the increased acceptance around vaccine misinformation. There may be a new way to reduce dementia. The Frontier in Aging Neuroscience Journal published a study over a new hormone replacement therapy that could protect the female brain from Alzheimer's and dementia by 26%. The journal also says estrogen is the key hormone in helping the brain rewire, recognize, and make new connections to neural pathways. 1 in 4 teenagers use e-cigarettes daily, according to the FDA. The agency found 2% increase in tobacco use among middle school students, but the survey also found use among high school students is down by 4%. When combining both middle and high school students, roughly 1 in 10 said they were currently using tobacco products. And researchers at a cat cafe says cats have 276 facial expressions, a majority friendly and the rest aggressive. Ladies?
Darian, coming up, a change in seasons could mean a change in mood.
How the weather may have an impact on your mental health when we return.
And sunshine's returning. If you like warmer temperatures and sunshine, it's a great time to be ready for it. Coming up on OU Nightly. Well, welcome back to OU Nightly and happy Thursday. We have a beautiful sunshiny type of day outside. I don't even know if that's a word, but blue skies outside. You can see not a cloud in sight. That sun is out and about. 64 degrees out there, just a little bit of a wind, 18 miles per hour. So that's definitely something you can feel if you are out heading to some evening or night classes. Current temperatures across the state, we are in the lower 60s. Areas of the panhandle, though, reaching temperatures a little bit warmer in the lower 70s. So this is right around average for this time of year. And most of us across our area of the United States are also seeing those temperatures. Areas of Texas are also seeing temperatures in the lower 60s as well. So definitely feeling like fall outside. Current wind speeds, though, you could definitely feel that outside. 18 miles per hour here in Norman. Areas like Enid, 23 miles per hour, down in Lawton, 17 miles per hour. So definitely a windy day out there today. Temperature change, you can see we have warmed up just a little bit across the state. We've warmed up 9 degrees here in Norman. So definitely something that we have seen some cooler temperatures over the past few days, and we are starting to see a little bit warmer temperatures. Looking at the satellite and radar, you can see a dry line set up in the western part of the state, but other than that, not a whole lot going on in our part of the U.S. As for the air mass forecast, though, if we're planning out over the next few days or so, you can see we are going to get a little bit cooler, but we are also going to start to warm up into the later parts of next week, especially this weekend on Sunday. We are going to see those warmer temperatures this weekend in the 70s. So if you are a fan of warmer weather, we are going to see just a little bit of a glimpse of that coming up. But we also are going to see a cold front make its way into the earlier parts of next week. But most of the cooler temperatures are going to stay to our north. So that's definitely something that we can thank to the jet stream. But for the forecast highs over the next few days, we are going to have temperatures in the 70s in this weekend and in the beginning of next week. Then we are going to start to cool back down into the later part of next week. As for your lows tonight, we are in the low 40s. So here in Norman, 44 degrees, 43 in Oklahoma City. And then tomorrow, we are going to kind of see the same trend of temperatures right around average in the upper 60s. And once again, that panhandle is staying just a little bit warmer. As for your Bedlam forecast, though, we are going to remain warm up in Stillwater. Temperatures are going to be in the 70s, and we are going to keep that sunshine around. And also on Saturday night, we are falling back. We are going to gain an hour of sleep. So if you are out and about this weekend, you will be able to get that hour of sleep back. And as for your 7-day, you can see that we are in the upper 60s and the 70s. So definitely something that we are watching into this weekend, those warmer temperatures.
So I was just going to ask, are those fall temperatures that we're feeling right now, are they what we're usually used to seeing around this time
Definitely
of year?
around average, but we are going to start to cool back down into those fall temperatures into next week. So we are feeling a little bit warmer over the next few days.
Absolutely. It'll be good to finally put those winter coats away for a little bit, get a little break in the temperatures.
Yeah, if you need to go get those winter coats, it's a good time to do so because we are getting a little bit of a break.
Yeah, and thank you, Carlin. And when the cold weather starts moving in, finals are on the way and many students start to fall into seasonal depression. Officially called seasonal affective disorder, the depression occurs during a specific season due to the lack of sunlight exposure and shorter days. Experts say symptoms include a change in mood and social withdrawal and depression. If you or anyone you know is struggling this season, visit the OU Counseling Resources for help.
And Oklahoma football is looking for their 8th win of the season this weekend as they face a familiar opponent.
Game 5 of the World Series was last night. Find out who came out victorious. Stone Weber joins us live in the studio with more.
OU softball continues their fall battle series, and we'll have your first look at the new look OU men's basketball team. Sports is next. Hello, I'm Stone Weber, and it's time for sports. Game 5 of the World Series took place in Phoenix last night with the Texas Rangers on the verge of World Series glory. Here's how it finished.
In their 63rd season. It's happened! The Texas Rangers win the World Series!
Hello, win column. For the first time in franchise history, the Texas Rangers are World Series champions. Texas defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 last night to clinch the series, winning 4-1. A parade to celebrate the team's victory will be held in Arlington, Texas tomorrow. And here in Norman, the Sooners are celebrating a World Series victory for one of their own. John Gray pitched 3 innings in Game 3 and gave up just 1 hit in a 3-1 Texas win. Moving back to the Sooner State, it's the final installment of the Bedlam rivalry as OU travels to Stillwater to take on Oklahoma State. The Sooners have dominated the rivalry with a record of 91-19-7, and the Sooners have won 77% of the matchups. Although they lost last week, senior receiver Drake Stoops knows the team still controls their destiny.
I think just a different feeling knowing at 7-1 it's all still in front of us, still somewhat in the driver's seat of it all, and just putting our best foot forward each week to go 1-0 and hope, and you know, we want to win our last 4 games and secure a spot, and hopefully in a Big 12 championship spot. And so just definitely a different feel this year than last year.
Former Cowboy and current Sooner, Trace Ford is one of a few players to transfer from one Bedlam rival to another. The Edmond Santa Fe product had some words for Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy ahead of Saturday's game.
He is really smart with the media. He knows exactly what to say. He's a little celebrity when it comes to that stuff. He loves being petty, and I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to see his face. You know, if he hasn't seen me on film yet, I hope he does this weekend.
Oklahoma softball returned to the Diamond last night for their 4th installment of the Battle Series, a contest where Gasso's squad goes head-to-head with each other. And redshirt sophomore Hannah Core made a statement as she had 5 hits and 7 RBIs en route to a Team 2 win. And OU men's basketball held an open scrimmage last night at the Lloyd Noble Center. Rivaldo Suarez gets on the board here with this 3-ball that touches every part of the rim, and this game did not have a final score as they reset the score at the end of every quarter. OU Wrestling had their annual Crimson and Cream inter-squad scrimmage last night, and it was a thriller. Team Cream won 27-20, and wrestling season is just around the corner, and the Sooners are ranked 13th in the Intermat preseason poll. It's Jersey Reveal Day in the NBA, and the Oklahoma City Thunder pays homage to the city's evolution. The bright yellow and orange are inspired by the energy of Oklahoma City, and the Thunder will wear these jerseys 5 times this season. Morgan and Ireland, back to you.
Thank you, Stone. Coming up, a long-standing Christmas tradition already in full swing.
Find out when you can see the iconic New York tree in all of its glory.
I'm Colson Pocock at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The Seminole District Attorney says 6 people are in custody as law enforcement works to crack down on violent crime activity in the small town. Mandel Carolina, Timothy Camp, Jonathan Hodge, Cortez Camp, Jared Reidenauer, and Brian Huntley are all currently behind bars in connections to the shootings that have taken place in Wewoka in recent months. Investigators say the crimes are due to two feuding families with gang ties. Along with the arrest, police say they also seized 4 handguns. Ireland, Morgan, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Colson. And it may only be November, but the iconic Rockefeller Christmas tree has been chosen.
The tree stands tall at 80 feet and is from Vestal, New York.
The spruce will be cut down November 9th and will arrive in New York City on the 11th.
Now, by the time it's set up in Rockefeller Center, it will be wrapped with more than 50,000 multicolored LED lights and topped with a Swarovski star.
I think it's going to be a sight to see with all those lights.
It absolutely will, and my favorite part of this whole journey for them is seeing what town they pick the tree from.
I know, it would be cool to be a part of that experience.
Absolutely.
And an event happening a little bit sooner than the holidays, the Bedlam football game kicks off this Saturday.
And if you're headed up to Stillwater, OU Nightly meteorologist Carla McCreary has what temperatures could look like ahead of the game.
That's right. If you are heading up to Stillwater, it is going to be a beautiful weekend to watch some football. Tomorrow, if you are heading up to Stillwater, temperatures will be right around average for this time of year, 67 degrees by 4 p.m. tomorrow. And for the Bedlam forecast, by tailgate time, 60 degrees. But once again, look at that sunshine sticking around all throughout tailgate, kickoff, halftime, and postgame, when temperatures will be in the upper 60s. And on the 7-day, you can see that we are going to stay warmer over this coming weekend as we do fall back. And then into the beginning of next week, we're going to see temperatures in the lower 70s, along with that sunshine. Once again, that is going to be sticking around into next week. Ladies?
Thank you, Carlin, and thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Ireland Fitzer.
And I'm Morgan Martin. Be sure to watch OU Nightly weekdays live at 4:30. Good night.